It's Peaches here, sitting down with Dale from Seether. Dale, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good, man.
How's the tour been so far? Going okay?
Yeah, it's going great. It takes a couple shows to kind of get back into the swing of it.
Right.
Especially now that we're a bunch of old guys. We're veterans of the sport, so to speak. But yeah, man, I feel like we're kind of in back in fighting shape, and
Yeah.
the show's been going well. So we've been having fun.
Good. I know you guys had Mammoth, Wolfgang Van Halen on a couple of the first stops of the tour, but I feel like that's a younger band, but at the same time, he's used to his dad touring, so I'm sure he's probably had some good pointers on how to, stay in shape the entire time or how to kind of treat yourself. Have you developed any sort of like rituals or like things you do to kind of keep yourself going on tour? Like things that like a specific drink you have to have or specific food you eat or diet or something like that?
Whiskey.
Lots
of whiskey, lots of Tabasco. And no, I feel like it's kind of a bit of a ritual. An hour and a half, no longer, before the show. I'll make myself a nice whiskey drink, normally like a Jameson or something. Because an hour and a half is just enough to take the edge off. But once you start going longer than that, you can overdo it a little bit.
No kidding.
And affect the show. So it's a very scientific thing. So it's my one vice I have left. So, but I try and offset it by try not to eat like complete garbage, which is hard out here sometimes because sometimes your only option is wings or pizza
right
after the show or something. So, but yeah, you gotta try and stay somewhat healthy, and then I feel less guilty about my whiskey before the show. If I feel like I had a good lunch, then I'm like, okay, well now I can be a little naughty,
Yeah, you can't be that guy like on the tour bus with Tupperware with like chicken and rice in it. You can't be that guy. That's just too much.
No, you wouldn't want to deal with the being ridiculed that much.
Yeah.
Another thing I do too, I fish. I bring fishing tackle on the road. So whenever we have, I don't know, a pond or just whatever, like a river, I'll walk down to it. Anything within 2 or 3 miles, I don't care. Because I kind of enjoy walking too, so it gives me a reason to get the steps in, and then I go fish a little bit, and every now and again I get lucky. Sometimes it's not successful, but it's still nice to get out and get some fresh air and kill a bit of time. So that's something I do that I feel like keeps my head on straight and keeps me occupied. Because I think people have a very sort of romanticized idea of what it means to be a touring band, and it's not all just sex, drugs, rock and roll, all the crazy stuff. For one, we're all a little older now. We're married and got little kids and things, so that'll slow you down. But then also you got a ton of downtime, so you have to kill it somehow. So whether it's, I know some guys would like to get a video, play some video games, or watch movies, or Johnny likes to go find record stores and add to his record collection, and so everyone's kind of got their thing that they do to occupy the downtime throughout the day.
I can only imagine like you guys have these great stops for fishing, but I feel bad because the weather sucks so bad today that you couldn't do anything here in Idaho.
I did. I walked down to Snake River, and there was a break in the rain, and I tried to fish, but it was difficult to get down to the water. I fished a couple spots, and then the wind kicked back up and looked like it was going to start pouring again. So I thought, is this really worth it? I know I had a chicken sandwich waiting for me on the bus, and the lure was just too strong of that. So I called it a day. So didn't catch any fish in Idaho this time. But
I can only imagine if you guys had more time here, we would love to take you to those great fishing spots around the area because that's what everyone does around here. I'm from Southern California, but I've been learning where the best spots are thanks to the locals.
Yeah, I'm sure there's great fly fishing, and I heard there's even like sturgeon and stuff like that here, which those I've yet to catch one of those, but they get huge. So I'd like to do that at some point. But yeah, hopefully next time we come back, we have like an actual day off, because when you've got some real time, you can take an Uber somewhere decent and fish some good water. So I'll make a point of that.
You might have
for
given
sure
me a
next time.
great idea for like a fishing with Seether. Start that segment like comedians in cars getting coffee, just like
Yeah.
us fishing with rock
Yeah.
stars type thing.
Catching nothing with Dale from Seether.
Right.
That's the bit.
Right. Well, I think the first time I ever really heard Seether, not to make you guys feel old, but I remember Burnout Paradise back in like 2008, and I was like 12 years old at the time, and I remember hearing "Fake It" on the video game. It's crazy to me how like back then, like rock and metal was so in like. Music was such a huge part of video games back then. I'm trying to figure out now, like, only Grand Theft Auto is the way to go to really spread the word about your music or
Right.
about any music. But hearing your song in a video game that long ago, was it just a crazy thing to hear that? I mean, because I'd be so overwhelmed or so, I don't know what the word is for, but it'd be so cool to have something like that happen.
It is. Yeah, it's definitely cool when you hear that. You know, we've had the Odd Movie song as well. In a couple different movies. We haven't done, I feel like those opportunities are sort of harder to come by now, for whatever the reason is. But yeah, we used to do a lot of that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's always exciting. Like whenever you hear your song, whether it's in a movie or like you might be in the store and walking around, your song comes on, you look around and no one knows. You know, I'm there, I got my hat, like, you know, no one knows who you are, but you're like, and you don't want to be like, hey guys, do you like the song? It's my band.
Right. You want them to know, but at the same time,
you kind of want them, but at the same
yeah.
time you don't. So it's kind of a weird thing. But the weirdest one I had like that was we were in the middle of Rome, and we'd never been there before, and we just walked into this like it was like a little ice cream shop or something, and we're like, let's get an ice cream. This is way back when, like 2004 or 5. Broken was just doing really well. And so our guitar player at the time and I were in this Italian little ice cream shop. And we meet this dude, and he's like, hey, you guys American? I'm like, well, I'm South African, but yeah, I live in America. And he's like, oh, what are you guys doing here? We got to talking. We're like, oh, we're touring. And, oh, what's your band? We see there. He's like, oh, like, what kind of music is it? And I'm like, oh, this is us. And Broken happened to come on the radio in this little ice cream shop in Rome. And I was like, man, that's pretty cool. And the timing was great. And he's like, "Oh no way, yeah, I know that song." And so yeah, it's I don't think that ever gets old.
Right.
When you hear your song played, and especially if it's kind of an unlikely place. You know, if you're at like a festival or a, you know, maybe a certain kind, like a tattoo shop or something. But if you're like in the middle of Target and it comes on, you're like, whoa, I didn't expect that here. Like,
Going to the mom in the next aisle, hey, that's my song.
yeah,
on the
yeah.
speaker.
you just don't want to get in an elevator and your song comes on, because that's like, I think that's the kiss of death. So.
Really? Why is that? Just doing the elevator? Just you're stuck in there and be
I
like,
don't know, because I feel like then you're residing in the sort of the Kenny G files and the, you know, the elevator music files.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody wants to. You know, I don't think anybody wants to be in there. You know?
I wonder if you're ever gonna like if you ever hear Seether on a classic rock station, be like, oh, now I'm the old guy. Like now I'm there.
Well, that's what's funny. I mean, you know, as you go through life, like you don't feel like I feel like I'm 25, but you know, on a daily basis, I'm reminded of the fact that I'm not by various things. But yeah, it's funny, you know, you blink and it's like, oh, it's been, you know, 25 years of, you know, us being a band, playing music and releasing albums, and you're like, man, we are those old guys that, you know, sometimes I feel like the meme of like Steve Buscemi with a skateboard.
Oh yeah.
You know, the
right.
backwards hat, like, you know, hey fellow teenagers, you know, like I feel like that guy sometimes. So it's yeah, it's kind of weird, but I mean, it's really cool that people still care. People still want to see us play. People still come to the shows. You know, this tour has been received really well. People are very interested in the merch and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, man. I mean, just the fact that we can still be doing it and people still care and want to come to the shows, it's awesome.
Yes,
Great.
I mean, Seether, P.O.D, and Nonpoint. We had when we first announced it. tons of people were so excited about, because this is the first major rock show of the year in this area. So of course people are always looking forward to, because around here people drive 3 hours to Salt Lake, 4 hours to Boise. So anytime there's a show that's 10 minutes away with 3 major bands, it's a huge thing. And we already have people lined up outside, and the doors open at 6, and it's 4:40. So
They're going to be very wet.
yeah,
by the time
the great weather of Idaho, you can never predict it. It's just all over the place. So
yeah, I experienced that a bit today.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, great to be out with those guys. We go way back with Nonpoint. Known those guys for years. Done a ton of tours and just festivals, and so we very tight with those guys. Known the P.O.D guys for years. On and off just festivals. Never done an official tour, but done a bunch of festivals. Did Ship Rocked with them, and so yeah, man, it's cool. I think it's a cool lineup. It's I feel like if you grew up in that sort of that era, when bands like us were cool. I mean, it's
still cool
it's a
now.
show. And we're still kind of relevant now. Their new song's doing great. Yeah, so it's. I think it'll be good. I think it'll be a good show. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing.
I think the secret now is to put on a mask and hide your guys' identities, because you see Sleep Token, obviously.
Yeah.
Then you see this band called President that just popped up, that they're all masked up and all mysterious, and sure enough, everyone's like, who are they? And they're blowing up too. So that might be the next. I mean, Slipknot, I feel like, started it back in the 90s,
Right.
but now it's just you had Ghost then and
Ghost,
Sleep Token.
yeah.
You might as well just come out in Halloween masks and pretend not to be Seether, but then.
Well, if we're gonna do that, I want to go the other way. I want to wear something really goofy, Barney the dinosaur
exactly
outfit or something.
Right.
I don't want to be scary. I want to be I want to raise more questions than than I'll answer with my outfit. Or just a big bass, a fish head. I don't know, something.
It would get hot in that thing though, wouldn't it? 'Cause
it's. I've often thought about that, and especially doing a high intensity show like Slipknot does.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's got to be really hard in those masks with the overalls and everything. And we actually watched them play a couple of months back. The last run we did a festival with them, and we got to get up on stage and just watch them from the side. And man, those guys still just lay it down. And I mean, they're at least our age. I think some of the guys might be even a little older than we are, and they still throw down, and it's. Can't be easy, when you start getting up. And again, in the masks, breathing's hard. It's hot. Luckily, it was kind of a nighttime show. It was a bit cooler, but yeah, man, that's dedication, and my hat's off to him.
Right. Well, everyone's super excited for the show tonight. Really looking forward to it, and just thank you so much for doing this brief little chat with me.
No problem, man.
So thank you.
Thanks for having us.